Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Burke County Board of Commissioners pre-agenda meeting for Monday, April the 6th, 2026. Thank you for being here. Let me ask you to silence all your mobile devices at this time. If you've got telephones, please put them on silent mode. Remind you as you come to the lectern today to speak, please press the button on the right. Be sure the red light comes on so we can get a good recording and hear you as well. Would make note today that the board wants to extend its deepest sympathies to the family of Mr. Waits Gordon. Waits was a dedicated public servant in our community, contributing through his work with the Burke County History Museum and his service on the America 250 North Carolina Committee, helping plan our America's 250 anniversary, as well as a United States Marine Corps veteran and active community volunteer in many, many different avenues in our community. So again, we remember Waits and I asked you to keep his family in your thoughts and prayers, and that service will be April the 18th at 1 p.m. at the First United Methodist Church. Gentlemen, this brings us to item number 2. I would also note that, Madam Clerk, that all commissioners are present with the exception of Mr. Burns, who had an engagement. He may be in later, but he is not present at the moment. So, and everyone else is present along with our attorney and manager and finance officer. Gentlemen, that brings us to item number 2, approval of agenda. Gentlemen, I'll entertain a motion. And please note the amendment.
Mr. Chair, I make a motion to approve the agenda as amended, moving decision item number 5, HR personnel policy updates to the consent agenda.
All those in favor of that, please signify by the uplifted hand. 4-0, Madam Clerk. I have several presentations today. First one will come from Guardian Ad Litem. Thank you. Proclamation designating April 2026 as Child Abuse Prevention Month. This will be presented by Amy Kincaid. Good afternoon, Amy.
Good afternoon. All right, thank you for your time and consideration as we bring forth the proclamation for Child Abuse Prevention Month for the year of 2026. I just appreciate the commissioners always coming in agreement with us that this is a very important topic. We think that by signing the proclamation, it helps us present the awareness and the importance of every single child being advocated for, and that we take it into high regards, that they be given full attention and just observing to all citizens the importance of recognition of the abuse that's happening here in our county. I oversee 3 counties now, Burke, Caldwell, and Catawba, and the numbers that we have here in the West is outstanding. So just bringing awareness, having our community more aware and talking about the situations is most helpful in educating the community.
All right, thank you, Amy. We look forward to hearing a little bit more from you in our regular meeting. Any question on this item? All right, seeing here none, this item will remain on the presentation agenda. Thank you.
Thank you.
Item number 2, coming from Community Development, recognition of Janie Estrada, NCSSM's Assistant Director of Student Services, presented by Sarah Splain. Sarah, are you
She had a meeting up to 3 o'clock on the other side of town, so it looks like she couldn't make it.
Okay. All right.
I'm happy to cover it if you'd like.
Okay, you got a comment?
Just that this is a recognition of Janie Estrada, who's the who operates over at North Carolina School of Math and Science. We had hoped to have this on your March agenda, but there were some scheduling challenges, and Sarah has just asked that the board give recognition for the civic engagement, specifically with the School of Math and Science investment into Friends of Fauna Flora Trail, as well as some of the other initiatives and county projects here. But there was a significant amount of community hours put in, and just wanted to give some recognition to that group for their efforts.
All right, thank you very much. We'll look forward to hearing a little bit more about that at our regular meeting. Any other question? Seeing here none, without objection, this item will remain on the agenda. Item number 3 on presentation comes from EMS, recognition of life savers. This will be presented by James Robinson, our Emergency Services Director. Afternoon, James.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. Quarterly, we try to get in. Unfortunately, with the month of March, we were extremely busy. There was no way we could get in, so we did push back to April. We've got several recognitions that we have for the month of April. There's also some extraordinary facts in there about our program, how we continue to grow as an agency, and some other finer details. But the impact that we make every single day, there's a catchphrase that you'll see in our PowerPoint presentation, and it's not necessarily about the time, it's about the care that people receive when we get there. I think that impact, especially after this past week, is also very profound from several of the calls that we've had as well. So while we won't be recognizing the calls from this past week in that presentation, that impact is definitely felt within our community. Happy to answer any questions.
All right. Thank you, James. Any questions on this item? Again, we look forward to hearing a little bit more about that during our regular meeting. Thank you, James. Without objection, this item will remain on the agenda. This brings us to scheduled public hearings. We do have one public hearing this month. This coming from Community Development, consideration to amend Article 8, Administration and Enforcement of the Burke County Zoning Ordinance in public hearing. This will be presented by Patrick Dickinson, our planner. Afternoon, Patrick.
Good afternoon. How are y'all doing? This is a pretty minor zoning text amendment. This is our kind of cleaning up of our duties for the Planning Board and Board of Adjustment. Primarily, this comes from the alternative requirement for the Board of Adjustment. We want to make sure that all of our board members can participate, as we have for a very long time. So basically just codifying that the alternatives requirement has been removed, and some other small adjustments as well. Did y'all have any questions for me from the staff report that was provided?
All right. Thank you, Patrick. Any questions for Patrick on this item? All right. Seeing here none, this item will remain on the public hearing agenda for our regular meeting. Thanks, Patrick. Brings us to consent agenda, item number 5. We have a number of consent items to hear today. First one, Board of Commissioners proclamation declaring May 7th, 2026 as National Day of Prayer. And gentlemen, you can see that proclamation. Any questions on this item? This is something we're pleased to do regularly, and we look forward to making that proclamation. Seeing here none, without objection, this item will remain on the consent agenda. Item number 2, clerk, reappointments to Child Protection and Child Fatality Prevention Team. This will be presented by our clerk today.
Yeah, our Sheriff Banks Heinsman and DM Director James Robinson have terms that end April 30th of this year, and so we are requesting their reappointment.
All right, thank you, Kat. Any question on this item? Seeing here none, this item will remain on the consent agenda. Item number 3, also from the clerk, appointment to the Transportation Coordinating Committee. Madam Clerk.
Yes, this is just for some housekeeping purposes. Alan Glines, our planning director, has retired, and his removal from the TCC and Patrick Dickinson's appointment is requested.
All right. Any question on this item? Seeing here none, this item will remain on the consent agenda. Item number 4, also from the clerk, appointment to the Council on Aging, presented by our clerk.
Yes, we have several vacancies on the Council of Aging, and we have an applicant, Phyllis Brunger, who is available and willing to serve, and her appointment is requested.
Any questions on this item? Seeing here none, this item will remain on the consent agenda. Item number 5, coming from our county manager, resolution creating the Burke County Veteran Services Board and bylaws. Mr. Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. At the request of Vice Chairman Smith some months ago, staff took a look at really the role of our Veteran Services Advisory Board. I met with a couple of its members who felt that there could be some more robust engagement. At the time, they were only meeting twice a year, once for Memorial Day, once for Veterans Day planning event. And the board did not have officers, really lacked strategic vision. And they wanted to be more engaged with supporting the Veteran Services Officer and the Veteran Services Department. So we spent a couple weeks planning and trying to envision what this board may look like, moving to quarterly meetings, having more standardized reporting and data communication to the board, what type of key indicators they want to receive, what they see as the mission and purpose of that department to support the state functions that are also here in town and the DAV, as we all know. So we're asking the board to consider creation. The original Veteran Services Advisory Board was created in the 1970s via simple resolution. So this would transition with the same membership, same terms. But we're asking you to consider standard bylaws that establish membership and officers on the board, a quarterly meeting schedule that then could be amended by that board once they're in session. But talking to those folks, I think that's what they're comfortable with. And just being more intentional and more formal about trying to support the veteran community here in Burke County.
Thank you, Mr. Manager. Any question on this item?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I've got a question. Mr. Manager, I've got a lot of friends that are veterans, and we love our veterans. Most of the board members up here, service members and stuff like that. A lot of them seem like they're wanting to engage because they've got a lot of suicides. I've talked to several of my veteran friends, and they seem like need some engagement more here. Or I know we've got some good people in those positions, but I know there's some more people really wanting to help our veterans, and they've got positions of that can help. So the question, I guess, is we're doing this, so this is good.
Yeah. Another critical component. We have about 4,500 veterans here in Burke County, so it's a significant portion of our community, and also engagement with younger veterans, folks who are just maybe recently non-active duty. Is a focus, and that's what I've heard from some of the existing members. But they just want to be more organized, they want to be more strategic, and they think this is a good way to get started doing that.
Okay, thank you.
Other questions? All right, seeing here none, without objection, this item will remain on the consent agenda. Item number 6, also from the county manager, approval of budget amendment number 20. Mr. Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. A series of budget amendments for consideration following. So we'll work through those, but typical for this time of year. The first one is a request to budget. It's budget number 20 on the year. Request to budget $110,854. All of this is state hurricane disaster recovery money through public health through administrative agreement number 122. And there's no match, and the funding will be used for data retention and also retention of medical records that are required by law for their accreditation.
Thank you, Mr. Manager. Any question on this item? Seeing here none, this item will remain on the consent agenda. Item number 7, amendment number 21. Mr. Manager.
Thanks, sir. This is a request to budget existing state funds from DEQ, Department of Environmental Quality, for the purchase of the 5 sewer flow meters that we will install to better monitor municipal sewer consumption that we've talked about many times. No local match.
Thank you, Mr. Manager. Any question on this item? Can't get it quick enough. Let's, without objection, this item will remain on the consent agenda. Item number 8, also from the county manager, budget amendment number 22.
Thank you, sir. This is from our detention facility. As the board is aware, the sheriff and his team have done a really superb job of working with other counties around North Carolina to host inmates for a variety of reasons, overcrowding, facility issues, and obviously that comes with revenue to the county. Year to date, we've received about $645,000, but that also drives up cost. We have to feed folks and provide medical needs. And so what we originally budgeted for just the Burke County population we've utilized all of that. So we're asking to budget some of the additional over-recognized revenue in exchange for food costs so that we can continue to operate between now and the end of the year.
Thank you, Mr. Manager. Any question on this item? Seeing here none, this item will remain on the consent agenda. Item number 9, budget amendment number 23.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is from the Department of Social Services, a request to budget $195,339. Again, all state DHHS funds related to Hurricane Helene and recovery efforts. This will be used in our special assistance, disaster assistance function, and it'll be used to help existing clients, so no new clients, but existing clients with day-to-day living costs, utilities, those types of expenses.
Any question on this item? Seeing here none, this item will remain on the consent agenda. Item number 10, budget amendment number 24.
Number 24 is also from our Department of Social Services for the LINKS program. This is a complete flow through, comes to the county from the state and then goes back out to these LINKS programs. LINKS is a system designed to help young adults who have been in foster care but maybe aging out or for another reason phasing out of into adulthood. And so this helps with rent, first month's rent, clothing, travel, those type of things. And so no impact on the county budget, just recording the state revenue and then connecting it to that LINKS program in social services.
Questions on this item? Seeing here none, this item will remain on the consent agenda. Item number 11, approval of budget amendment number 25, Mr. Manager.
Thank you, sir. Number 25 is also from the Department of Social Services. Annually, the county receives special adoption promotion funds, and this is based off prior year successful permanency placements. I think the county had one of its strongest, if not the strongest, year last year in permanency placement through adoption. And this is a request to budget a portion of those funds to support the adoption promotion. This could be marketing and advertising. This could be licensing and support of existing foster parents. This could be special legal needs, as some children may require that, and often there's a conflict with local attorneys, so you're seeking outside counsel. And so, again, state funds, no impact on the county's budget, and from the Department of Social Services.
Any questions on this item? Seeing here none, this item will remain on the consent agenda. Item number 12, approval of budget amendment number 26, Mr. Manager.
Number 26, also from the Department of Social Services, and I know I spent substantial time with board members last week, one-on-one, talking about some of the challenges that we're experiencing with the state transition to Healthy Blue, which is the new both the standard plan and a specialty plan for foster youth who are obviously receiving Medicaid, and we've seen an uptick in costs associated with that. Part of that, as we discussed, was driving from last year's specialty placement funds, which we think in some ways established a new market, but also we've seen an uptick in our ability to, or really the number of children that we're taking into care that have to be placed. And so the request is to budget an additional $402,000 in foster care board payments. About $113,000 of that is the county share, and about $569,000 of that is the state share. And of that, I would point out $540,332 is an appropriation fund balance, with the remaining between 55 and 57% that will be reimbursed through the county's 1571.
Any questions on this item? Seeing here none, this item will remain on the consent agenda. Item number 13, approval of budget amendment number 27, Mr. Manager.
Thank you, sir. We're now transitioning to volunteer fire. As you all know, much of Burke County is protected. Fire protection is done through volunteer fire departments that have varying appropriation and tax rates for their districts. During the beginning original budget forecast, we anticipate values applied at their rate, and we budget for each of these. These are all departments that have, we've collected more than we anticipated. So we have to increase the outgoing budget side so we can make payments to them. So again, there is no retention of county funds. This is just allowing us to continue to pay to these fire departments the amount of property tax that's been collected on their fire tax rate in their district.
Any question on this item? Seeing here none, this item will remain on the consent agenda. Item number 14, amendment number 28, Mr. Manager.
Budget amendment number 28 is the annual budget amendment. We do this. This will be our third year in a row doing it. In the original budget, we allocate $425,000 to Western Piedmont Community College for capital needs, to be moved to a capital reserve. And that's what this budget amendment is doing. It's simply taking it from, and setting it aside for future needs. I would remind, the board, Ms. Holman came only a couple of months ago, and she was talking about electrical panels and drawing some of the dollars down from this fund. So this is just the annual appropriation that we budget to put back.
Thank you, Mr. Manager. Any question on this item? This item then will remain on the consent agenda. Item number 15 comes from Finance, Public School Capital Fund Application and Budget Amendment number 29. This will be presented by Margaret Pierce, our Finance Director.
Good evening or afternoon. There's two items going on in this one. Actually, the school has requested 27 projects out of the state repair and renovation funds. These are funds generated from lottery tickets that the state will allow you to use for different repairs and renovations. They have 27 projects they talked to the state about that they'd like for us to endorse the applications. It's required by the state that we actually approve them. They'll go through our books, but it's no county dollars. Yeah, it's great. They're actually going to bring 21 more. He emailed me today, so they're trying their best to use other than county dollars, which we really support them in. So, the other item we have within this is amendment number 29, which is they are asking for $870,494 be added to the budget for the central office renovations due to what we've all seen, which is repair costs and renovation costs are a little more than you originally anticipate. So that'll make the total budget $10,870,494. These funds would come from their set-aside capital that's been generated by sales tax dollars. So it's really no county dollars involved in this either. They're just requesting shift it from the set-aside to the project.
And the school
Any
board-
questions?
And the school board has approved this, right?
Yes, both. Both have been to the school board.
Any questions on this item? Seeing here none, this item will remain on consent agenda. Thank you, Margaret. Item number 16, also for Finance, Property Surplus Sales. Ms.
So we had 3 properties that you asked us to take back out to bid. Of those 3, one did meet reserve. It's a property on Rocky Ford Street. It was $5,000 was bid on it, which met the reserve requirements, and we request approval to close that sale.
Any question on this item? All right, seeing here none, this item will remain on consent agenda. Also from our finance office, item number 17, USDA lease renewal.
USDA rents space with us in the ag building on Ammon Road. They are requesting, it's up for renewal. It actually doesn't renew, but because things take a little bit longer with the federal government, they asked us to go ahead and bring it to our board. They are requesting that their lease be renewed from January 1 to December 31, from 27 to 2031. Excuse me, it's a 5-year lease renewal. We are going to see an increase in the rate. Currently, we receive about $14.11 per square foot, and we've requested they go to 25, and they have approved that rate increase. So we will see a little bit of extra rent money next year in the budget. It will be in the next year's budget.
All right, thank you, Margaret. Any question on this item?
Mr. Chairman, is that at the ag?
It's in the ag building, yes.
Okay.
They have a small space in there for USDA they work closely with our soil and water, so it's good for them to be side by side there.
We all about the agriculture.
Yeah.
Other question, comment? Seeing here none, this item will remain on consent agenda. Thank you, Margaret. Item number 18, coming from Health Department, proclamation of National Public Health Week. This will be presented by Samantha Simmons, our public health educator. Afternoon.
Good afternoon. As we recognize Public Health Week this April, we want to extend our gratitude to our public health staff, the dedication, compassion, and ongoing commitment to strengthen the health and well-being of our entire community. Thank you.
Thank you. Any question on this item? Seeing here none, this item will remain on the consent agenda. Thank you, Samantha. Item number 19, coming from opioid response resolution authorizing execution of the remnant defendants' national opioid settlement participation documents. This will be presented by Brandy. Afternoon, Brandy.
It's a mouthful. Yes. Good afternoon, gentlemen and ladies. So yes, like you said, this item is reference to the remnant defendant settlement, which is essentially just a mop-up phase of the national opioid litigation. Actually, it is the last 6 regional drug distributors and dispensing entities that were not a part of the earlier national settlements. And what the county has to do is, or local governments that must opt in to receive their share of the funds. So really what this is just an authorization allowing the county manager to sign on so that we can get our part of the money.
Any question on this item? All right, seeing here none, this item will remain on consent agenda. Thank you.
Thank you.
Item number 20, coming from our HR department, personnel policy updates. And gentlemen, you have these items in front of you as well for your review. We'll hear from Mr. Miller.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Real quick, I got just a couple slides, nothing major, but as you will remember, the board approved policy revisions back in August of last year with an October 1 effective date. As you well know, with any policy revisions of the magnitude that we just went through, there are going to be areas where the policy can be updated or improved. There are 3 policies that we are considering altering at this time. The first is going to be on our compensation plan. That was simply some verbiage that had been approved previously by the board in the last couple of years and didn't make it over into the rewrite of our new policies. So it was an omission that we want to put back in. We have dealt with some adverse weather events through our snow events we've had over the last couple of months that have really brought to light some things we want to tighten up on our adverse weather policy that we'd like to include. And then the drug and alcohol-free workplace policy we're still working on, is still under review. We anticipate having revisions to you in the next week or two to look at in regards to our drug and alcohol-free workplace policy as well. So copies, like you say, have been provided to you. If approved, we would like to implement those on May 1st, and we will go through a structured process of recommunicating those policies to our employees if approved. Happy to entertain any questions.
Thank you, Mark. Any question on these items?
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you. Without objection, this item will remain on consent agenda. All right, this brings us to item number 6, items for decision. We have a number of items for decision today. First item comes from our clerk, appointments and reappointments to the America 250 Committee.
Yes, we have several terms up for expiration. We're still waiting to see how the applications come in for that to pan out, but seat number 14 is an at-large seat, and we have 3 applications on file for that seat.
All right, thank you, Kat. Any question on this item? Seeing here none, this item will remain on the decision agenda. Item number 2, coming from the county manager, approval of interlocal development agreement. Mr. Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In 2 weeks, I'll be prepared to provide a more in-depth presentation, but this is in relation to a memorandum of understanding with the town of Valdez to help provide a municipal grant from state infrastructure dollars. As a reminder, the General Assembly allocated about $3.2 million to Burke County for a housing inducement fund. We'll leverage that by providing municipal grants to communities where housing is probable or there's an active project. In Valdez, there is a piece of property that's platted for about 140 homes, and we've been working through this now for the better part of 18 months. The town has received 2 grants. And they're asking the county to contribute about $400,000 to a sewer lift station that would help that development. The agreement is in your packet, but has also been provided to you at your work session. The county attorney's office is working through, along with the manager's office, some technical revisions. There will be a performance contract in connection with a joint venture with the horizontal developer, which is Larry Bragg, Natural Alliance. He's from Belmont, as well as Moss Marlowe, who's a home builder here in Burke County and in our region. And that performance contract will require repayment of public funds, including the county's advancement to the town of Valdez, if vertical development and tax-based housing isn't created. Again, I'll be prepared to speak to that in more detail in 2 weeks, but happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Mr. Manager. Any question on this item? Seeing here none, this item will remain on the decision agenda. Item number 3, also from the county manager, approval of engineering services contract for the landfill.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, this is the master services agreement. So this would cover all of the environmental engineering services that are needed, as well as some exploratory engineering for MSW landfill development out at our landfill. I would remind you, back in November, the board approved a temporary contract to get us caught up. Following an extensive RFQ process, we selected Garrett Moore. That was following almost 3 decades of a relationship with the same engineering firm. And we felt a different, fresh perspective may serve us well now that our landfill's operating in a more appropriate business model. And we feel like having that partner on board is really going to give us some new ideas and allow us to manage that function better. So that we are caught back up with our quarterly reporting. There was never any notice violations or anything like that issued, but during the RFQ process, we got a little behind, which is what the first contract you all awarded back in November took care of. This is the master services agreement, which will be the multi-year agreement that covers the rest of the scope of service with Garrett Moore. And we'll be asking the board to consider approval so we can begin that work.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Manager. Any question on this item? Seeing here none, this item will remain on the decision agenda. Item number 4, coming from finance, property surplus sales. Those requirements, reserve requirements not met. Ms. Pierce.
So we have the 2 properties that did not meet reserve. On the first property, it's approximately 1 acre. The reserve was set at $22,500. The high bid was $18,000. This is slightly higher than we received last time, but only, I believe, by about $2,000. The second property on Kirksey Drive, 1.47 acres. Again, the reserve was $22,500, and the high bid was $17,800 on this one. And we are seeking direction from the board whether you would authorize the sales at this point, since we've tried twice and not been able to get the reserve, or if you'd like for us to put them back out one more time and just keep trying, or what you'd like for us to do.
All right. Any question on this item? Seeing here none, this item will remain on the decision agenda. Thank you, Margaret. And we removed item number 5. During agenda approval, this brings us to the new item number 5, tax collection report for a period ending March 31, 2026. This will be a placeholder. John, I don't see John with us today. Any questions that on this item? Seeing here none, this item will remain on the decision agenda, along with item number 6, tax release and refund report. Any question on that item? This item also will remain on the decision agenda. All right. This brings us to reports and comments. Gentlemen, I would remind you, if you have any reports that need to go into our package, please get those to Kat as soon as you can so that we can include them in our regular agenda package. And also a reminder of the NCACC update on property tax legislation via Zoom at 3:30 on April 9th, if you're available and can participate in that Zoom meeting. April 10th, legislative breakfast hosted by Burke County Chamber of Commerce at the Morgan Community House. If you are able to attend that, please let Kat know. She'll help you with that. April 16th, the Western Piedmont Council of Governments annual meeting at the Hickory Convention Center. That meeting starts, I believe, at 5. Thinking I had that on my calendar at 6, but I could be wrong. I think 6. But if you're interested in that, please check with Kat. Be sure you're hitched up with that if you plan to go. April 20th, our regular meeting at 6 p.m. I would remind those who might come and help us with the Pledge of Allegiance at our regular meeting, youth groups and others that might help us with that. Please contact us and get on get on the agenda. Also, religious folks officials who would like to come and deliver the invocation, please let us know. We'd love to have your participation there as well. And with that, that'll bring us to other discussion items today. We have been asked by NCACC to view a video. We're going to do that at this time. Hopefully it is ready to go for us. So, gentlemen, I'll call your attention to the screen for just a couple minutes for some information from our state association.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us for the NC County's Care Forum on Rural Health Care on March the 27th. We are grateful that you took the time to be a part of such an important conversation for our communities. Throughout the afternoon, we heard valuable insights from North Carolina healthcare leaders from the North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services, ECU Health, representatives from a local health department, as well as our partner from Carolina Demography, Dr. Nathan Dollar. Together, these voices helped highlight both the challenges and the opportunities facing rural health care in our state. Whether during the panel or small group discussions, the attendees' perspectives and experiences are what make these forums meaningful and impactful. This kind of engagement is how we move ideas into action. We hope you'll continue the conversation with us at the next forum in this presidential series on May the 20th in Beaufort County. There, we'll take a closer look at healthcare in jails, another critical issue affecting counties across North Carolina. Be on the lookout for the registration information. Now, I want to mention something very important to all commissioners across the state. I highly encourage you to stay engaged on key policy discussions happening at the General Assembly, especially the House and Senate committees on property tax. These conversations will have significant impacts for our counties, as well as the people that we serve. So please plan to join us in the state capitol for County Advocacy Days on June the 9th and 10th, an important opportunity for us to connect directly with our legislators and ensure that county voices are heard. Thank you again for your leadership, your collaboration, and your commitment to strengthening the health of our communities. We look forward to seeing you again soon.
All right. Thank you, gentlemen. That video is for our information purposes only. It will not move forward to our regular meeting. Brings us to item number 9, action items. This is our DSS 2025 annual report. This will be presented by Corey Fisher-Wellman, our DSS director, and some other folks from DSS perhaps. Okay. Afternoon, Corey, Amanda, Chaslin. Good to see y'all. Thank you for being here.
Good afternoon. So today we're going to present to you our annual report from 2025. We try to do this in March or April of each year, and this just gives an overview of what we did in the previous calendar year. And just, I think the work that our staff do every day, it's really difficult work, and we're thankful sort of every day they show up. But just some of the transitions that occurred over the last year, Mr. Epley mentioned one of them. We moved into the statewide foster care plan with Healthy Blue, which was a big undertaking for our child welfare staff. Our child welfare staff and CPS also transitioned into a statewide data management system called PathNC that the rest of our child welfare staff will transition into later on this year. And then we've also had to implement a number of changes and legislative changes related to House Bill 1. A couple of just a little bit about our agency and some sort of the randomness that people don't necessarily know that DSS is involved in. So we have 199 full-time positions. In addition to that, we have 10 part-time staff or PRN staff whose sole purpose is to help support us when kids are in the building overnight. And then we have another about 10 part-time people who support us throughout the agency. Over the course of 2025, we issued 427 fishing licenses. registered 164 people to vote, and completed or were involved in the completion of 8,567 Medicaid transportation trips. So it's just some random facts, and then I'll let Amanda and Chaslin sort of talk you through their parts of the agency. I'll do those two for her.
No, that's it. Okay, so the first program that we're going to discuss is Medicaid. And as you know, Medicaid's went through a lot. But Medicaid provides health care coverage for people with low incomes. These programs are for children, pregnant women, adults, and people who are blind or with disabilities. And through Medicaid expansion, we're able to help people who are between the ages of 19 through 64. Some of the things in 25 that you may not know, we process roughly 400 Medicaid applications every single month, 2,000 recertifications, and with the new foster care changes, also came Medicaid changes for foster care. So some of our workers had to learn that policy. We do get a 75% reimbursement for admin cost of Medicaid eligibility functions. We have a caseworker who works with the services at Blue Ridge Healthcare, and we go through 6 audits throughout the year, just in Medicaid alone. 35% in Burke County receive some type of Medicaid assistance. And so in 2025, at the end of the year, we had roughly 28,000 people who received Medicaid in Burke County. I'll put up the clicker. In Food Nutrition Services, formerly known as food stamps, this is a federally food assistance program that provides low-income families with the ability to purchase food for their family, adequate meals through the EBT, with the EBT card, Electric Benefits Transfers cards. And then throughout the summer, there's a program that runs parallel, Sunbucks, which is given out. And although we do not do the applications for Sunbucks, we do manage the card distribution. And if you look at the year, at the end of the year, we gave out $21 million, a little over $21 million in benefits just in Burke County. And we have roughly 5,300 cases, and there's 10,269 participants who receive food nutrition services in Burke. Our Work First program, in North Carolina, we call it Work First, but it's our TANF program. So it's a cash assistance program for families. If you see the trend, it has went down quite a bit, but there's 53 active cases in Burke County at the end of December. This program is to help families become self-sufficient. They work with an employment service worker who helps them eliminate barriers, find employment, arrange transportation, help with childcare, maybe help enroll them in GED classes or some type of human resource development class. The worker is required to make contact with them, and so there's only 2 workers who do this program, and they've made 75 contacts monthly. And then they are required, although they can take a telephone signature at application, they are to do a face-to-face at recertification. You can only stay on this program for a lifetime of 60 months. So, and they've never increased this particular program. So, for example, a family of 1, which would be like just a child-only case, they get $181 to participate in the program. In our energy program, we have 2 major energy programs. One is the Crisis Intervention Program. It helps with heating and cooling emergencies. They have changed a little bit about this program, which is good. You used to have a disconnect notice in order to be eligible. Now you just have to have a past due bill. So we're able to kind of help more people before it becomes a true crisis as far as a disconnect. And by the end of December, we had done 1,994 applications.
And in the Low Income Energy Assistance Program, it's a one-time payment directly to the vendor. And we did 1,450 applications in this particular program. And if you look at the pie chart, this is the total payments for 2025. In our child care subsidy program, so this is helping with child care. One of my favorite programs because it does help families maintain their own self-sufficiency. We work with these families so that they they can work and afford daycare, or attempt to find work or go to school or do on-job training. And we had 406 cases in Burke by the end of December, and gave out our allocation was a little over $3 million in child care. Oh, I did want to note, we did serve 432 children in Burke County. Jocelyn's going to talk a little bit about her side of special assistance, but there is an eligibility side. On the eligibility side of cash assistance, there's two. So there's the special assistance that helps pay for recipients who reside in licensed facilities authorized to receive SA payments, and there's SA in-home, where it helps provide low-income North Carolina residents who are eligible for Medicaid with a monthly cash benefit to help them maintain living in their own home. It is 50% county dollars and 50% state dollars, and on those, it goes to the bank of their choice. So it's direct deposit. It can also go on an EBT card if they don't have a bank. And we roughly have a total of 253 recipients in that particular program. Our child support services, we do partner with Veritas, so we do outsource. We've done that since 2020. It has been very successful. It's a great partnership that the county, our DSS, has with that agency, and they run on a physical year. At June of 2025, 2,220 cases. So there was a time in 2020 that we ranked 100 out of 100 counties. So just to kind of throw out there, we have made so much improvement in this area. We now we're in 51st place. Yeah, so I'm really proud of that. And every month we still, because we are required, so we just can't give it up. We're part of that program. It is a partnership, and so the state rep, the Veritas office manager, the Veritas executive, and I, we all meet monthly. We make sure we go over all the performance measures and discuss any concerns that we have. And if you can see our collection, the collection rate was met, which that doesn't happen statewide quite a bit, where you actually meet your collection rate. But we did collect quite a bit of money, almost $4 million. So, and I will let Jocelyn finish us up.
Hey, so moving into permanency planning, which is also known as foster care, in the year of 2025, 308 children in Burke County experienced foster care. If you note, there is a good bit of an increase in 2025 compared to the prior 2 years, and I do think that the increase is attributed to our CPS backlog, which we have since eliminated, and then also just changes in leadership and agency practices. And then just in terms of entering and exiting custody in 2025, 126 children entered the department's custody, while 105 children exited the department's custody. Though we didn't have a clean break even, I do think that the agency did a pretty good job of trying to keep up with the number of entries. For adoptions, this is obviously where children in our care go through the
separation of parental ties to then be adopted by a selected family. That could be a licensed foster home, it could be a relative, it could be whatever kind of kinship placement exists for that child. In 2025, and that this number 37 is actually for the calendar year. We completed 37 adoptions, but it does go by fiscal year for adoptions, and I do just want to give you those numbers. So every year in adoptions fiscally, the state gives us a baseline that we need to complete, and that's how many adoptions. So in the 2024-2025 year, our baseline was 15, and our team actually completed 43, which then attributed to the amount of adoption incentive funds the agency received. For 2025, our baseline, 2025-2026, our baseline was set at 34. And so far we have completed 29. So I do think that we're on a good path to meet that baseline again for this year. This is Child Protective Services, where we get CPS reports for abuse, neglect, and dependency. In 2025, we received 1,589 reports, and of those, 999 of those reports were accepted and either investigated or assessed. For CPS in-home services, you can also see that in 2025, we had an increase pretty significantly to 83 as compared to the prior 2 years. And again, I would attribute the increase to the CPS backlog, where we have been able to quickly work through those cases and move them along, and then also just leadership changes. This is a repeat slide. So moving into adult protective services, so adult protective services, APS, that is where we get reports on adults in the community that are either alleged to be abused, neglected, or exploited. And for 2025, we completed 203 of those reports. For guardianship, these are obviously adults who have then been declared incompetent. In 2025, we served 71 individuals as guardian of the person, and we gained 30 new adult wards through the court. We do have an established contract with Hope for the Future that we have contracted out 17 of those slots, and we're currently actively using all 17, which is very helpful. I will say, just as a trend, we are trending back. When we originally did the contract with Hope for the Future, we were around the number we're at right now, 71. And I think the trend that we continue to see that's very challenging for our adult services unit is getting younger and younger wards in with severe mental health. And obviously, we're going to have them for a significant period of time just because of their age. So that is something to keep in mind. Adult home specialists, this would be social workers who manage and monitor facilities such as the adult care homes and the family care homes, as well as the adult daycare program. And they're just monitoring them, whether there's a complaint or whether, just in daily compliance with rules and regulations. So in 2025, the adult home specialist conducted 114 investigations and then 76 routine monitoring visits. So for special assistance on the social work side of the house, this has a case management component, and it is a monthly cash payment for adults the goal is for them to hopefully stay in like the least restrictive environment. And you could tell the numbers have significantly gone up, but the state has now changed that you're not allowed to have a waiting list. So, and it's an entitlement program. So anybody who comes in and qualifies for the service, we do have to see. And then community alternative programs, otherwise known as CAP. Burke County is currently serving 132 of these slots, and really the difference between CAP and SA in-home is you think of them as like stair steps. You would start at special assistance. We're going to give you a monthly cash payment to try to, and you can use that money however you see best fit, whether that's for groceries or for bills or services, anything to help you stay in your home. Whereas CAP, it would be a step up, and it gives you greater access to more services and funding streams. And that is all we have. Any questions?
All right, thank you, Chaplain. Any questions for the group today?
Great, thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate y'all being here. Gentlemen, I'll entertain a motion to accept this report.
I'll make the motion, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. All those in favor signify by the uplifted hand. 4-0. All right. Well, gentlemen, brings us to item number 10. Adjournment.
Chairman, I'll make a motion.
All right, you've heard the motion to adjourn. All those in favor signify by the uplifted hand. 4-0. Thank you very much. Thank you all for being here this afternoon. Appreciate your attendance and your presentations.